Hello everybody and welcome to day 3. Today we are going to experiment with downward facing dog and a little bit of forward folding. So if you are worried about downward facing dog and you want to get a jump start on some modifications, I have my blog post linked below. It goes into a deeper dive into downward facing dog and little modification and tweaks that you can make during your practice. Before you get started, make sure you have some blocks or some books, and with that, go ahead, grab your materials, and I will meet you on the mat. Hi guys, welcome to your mat. So today I'm sitting on this pillow. We're going to start off in child's pose again, making any modifications that suit your body best. If you want to grab another pillow to keep it under your chest, go ahead. Then I'm going to take my big toes to touch underneath here, and then my knees come out wide. I'm gently going to sit my hips back towards my heels. They're going to be propped up on this pillow, and then gently walk my hands forward till I come down to a comfortable level. Maybe I have my head propped up on something, but I'm going to bring my head down to the mat today. And you can have your arms behind you if you'd like. And we're going to take a couple cleansing breaths together here. So exhale wherever you're at in your breath cycle. Take a big deep inhale through your nose. Exhale, H-A-ha, out through your mouth. Again, just like that, inhaling. Exhale, H-A-ha. Again, one more time together. Exhale, H-A-ha. And take a few more just like that, on your own this time. Imagine on every inhale, you're sending your breath to your lower back, releasing any tension that may be building up there. And with every exhale, imagine you're compressing your belly button towards your spine and getting any stale air out that was there from yesterday. Maybe one more big breath here. If you'd like, you could begin to seal your lips and begin inhaling and exhaling out through your nose. And coming back to those belly breaths. So allowing your belly to expand with every inhale and compress with every exhale. You can gently begin to roll your forehead on your mat or your pillow, maybe even your block here. Just very gently from side to side. And then if your hands are down by your sides, so your fingertips are pointing back, let's go ahead and bring those hands out in front of us so our fingertips are facing forward to the top of our mat. We're going to take an inhale, come back through center, find some stillness. And then exhale, press your palms firmly into the earth, pressing your hips back a little bit farther towards your heels. Inhale, maybe your chest lifts off your mat just a bit. And then exhale, you press back. Again, just like that. Inhaling, lifting up, maybe just a bit. Exhale, pressing firmly through your palms, knuckles, and fingers as your hands are spread wide. Gently come back to a resting child's pose here. We'll flip our palms so they're face up. Just allowing your fingertips to curl in, relaxing your arms and hands. And then we'll begin to take our fingertips in, making a fist with our hands, and then gently letting them go and relax. inhale, making a fist. Exhale, relax. Allowing those fingertips to open. 2 more times just like that. Inhaling, pulling your fingers in, making a fist. Exhale. Let your hands relax. 1 more time. Inhaling, pulling those fingers in. Exhale, let them relax. You can turn your hands over so palms are face down again. Or you can take some wrist circles here. Stretching out your fingers. And we'll come back to our stillness and our child's pose. We'll set an intention for our practice today, or maybe just even the day. Again, you can find thanks, you can send some love. And when you've set your intention, we'll gently lift ourselves up off the mat, walking our hands a little bit closer in. Then we'll gently shift our weight off of our heels and come into our tabletop position, moving our pillow if you'd like, or maybe taking it underneath your knees here. So we want our wrists right underneath our shoulders and our knees right underneath our hips. We're gonna tap our toes out on or the tops of our feet out on our mat just to get a little life back in them. It's okay to make noise. And we're gonna pause, find some stillness, tuck our toes, making sure our pinky toes are in the party here. Mine like to escape sometimes. We're gonna take an inhale, glide forward, and then exhale, press your hips back towards your heels, stretching out those arches of our feet. And you gauge the intensity, so if this is too intense of a stretch, back out, take your weight forward again into your hands here. Or you can press back even farther if you'd like this stretch, pressing firmly again through our hands, knuckles, and fingers. So we want to make sure those fingertips are really spread wide here. Inhale, come back forward, release those toes, tops of the feet can come to the mat. And then again, let's take a look at our hands here. So my fingertips are spread wide like a high five on the mat. So sometimes this is comfortable and sometimes it's not. So sometimes I like to turn my hands out just a bit so my thumbs are pointing forward instead of my pointer fingers. So you can take this hand position here if you'd like, but I want to really make sure, let's lift up all 10 fingers and then place them all on the mat have our weight evenly distributed through our hands, and this is going to be really important when we're coming into our downward facing dog. So go ahead, play with any little hand movement if you want to pull them out a little bit, angle them differently. And then we'll come into some cat-cow. So inhale, belly drops, gaze lifts. Exhale, pull your belly button towards your spine. Tailbone tucks under. Again, flowing with your own breath. Inhales bring you to cow. Exhales pull you to cat as you broaden across your shoulder blades. Take a few cat-cows, and then when you feel comfortable, you can take any organic movement, shifting from side to side. Taking some circles here if you want. You can have a deep bend in your elbows as you come forward, rock back. Two more rounds of breath here. On your next inhale, we'll gently come back through center. We're going to pick up this right leg, send it shoot straight back behind us. So you're trying to kick a hole in your wall with your heel here, but not actually. And then we're going to take those toes down to our mat, quick calf stretch. Again, rocking your weight forward first to see where you're at in space, and then gently exhale. Heel is reaching towards the ground, and then again coming back to the weight in our fingertips, knuckles, and palms, pressing evenly through those hands here. Breathing into the back side of your leg. Next inhale, we'll come forward. Right knee drops underneath our hip. Take a breath here. Readjust your hands if you need to. And then inhale, left leg kicks behind us. Hips are level, and then again, toes flex back towards your face, and you're trying to kick a hole in your wall with your heel. One long line of energy here. And then exhale, gently bring those left toes to the earth. Inhale, your weight comes forward. And then exhale, press that left heel back towards the floor. Again, evenly distributing your weight through your hands as you're pressing the earth firmly away from them. Lifting up out of your shoulders. We don't want any shoulder sag here. Hanging out in our joints. Breathing into your hamstring. Coming back to your breath. Don't hold your breath. Inhale, we'll gently glide forward. Exhale, left knee comes to the mat now. Gently rock your hips from side to side. Then we're going to find our way to a seated position. You can take easy pose or Sukhasana. I'm going to sit in hero's pose on my pillow here. We're just going to take some quick wrist stretching before we come into our downward facing dog. So let's begin by rolling out our wrists here, taking a little time to give them some love. Then we're going to take our hands right out in front of us. Fingertips are spread wide. And then we're gently going to just drop our hands to either side, spin them in, allow our arms to rotate here. And then we'll come back through center. Left hand is going to reach out in front of us. Right hand is coming up and over the top. So our right fingertips are touching our left fingertips. Take an inhale here and then exhale. Pull those fingertips back just very gently. And then try to reach the heel of your left hand forward. Again, gauging the intensity here. If it's too much of a stretch, back out. Then we'll gently release that pressure. Again, right hand comes out in front of us. And then we're going to take our left fingertips and come to the top of our right fingertips. Take an inhale here and then exhale. Begin to pull those fingertips back very gently while you're pressing the heel of your right hand forward. Shoulders drop away from your ears if you feel a little tense up there. Inhale, come back through center. Both hands come out in front of us. I know my arms are getting heavy too. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, those Frankenstein hands as those fingertips are reaching towards the floor. Inhale, they come up towards the sky. And then exhale, they point towards the ground. We'll drop our arms by our side. Go ahead, shake out our wrists here. Take some shoulder circles. So inhale, shoulders to our ears. Exhale, pull them back and down our back. You can get your hands involved, palms face up. Switch directions. Inhale, shoulders to your ears. Exhale, roll them forward. Last round. Beautiful. If you want to take your neck from side to side very gently. And then we're gonna make our way back to our tabletop position here. So setting up for our downward facing dog. So in our tabletop, our wrists are right underneath our shoulders, knees are right underneath our hips here. So when we're getting ready to come into our downward facing dog, we want to take our hands, so right now they're underneath our shoulders, and walk them one palm's length from where they're at right now. And then again, if you want to turn out your fingers a little bit, you can even bring your hands out to the edge of your mat. So maybe your pinkies are coming off the edge of your mat if you feel like you have tight shoulders. So setting up here, you walk your hands out one palm's length. We'll tuck our toes, and we'll just experiment here. So again, tucking our toes like we were going to come into that arch stretch. We'll take a deep inhale. Exhale, press through our palms here, activating our shoulders, and then we're going to lift our knees up off the mat just a few inches, holding it here, core is tight. Take an inhale. And then exhale, bring those knees back down to the earth. So you really want to make sure that you're pressing firmly through all your fingertips, knuckles, and palms here. You're not just dumping all your weight forward into your wrists, because you're going to have a really bad time after a while. All right, we'll do that one more time, and then we'll press up into our downward facing dog. We'll take a deep inhale here. Exhale, lifting and pressing through our toes, fingers, knuckles, and palms. Knees are just a few inches above the mat, allowing your shoulders to pull down your back. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale, bring those knees back down towards the earth. Rock your hips from side to side for a moment. And then when you're ready, tuck your toes, take a deep inhale. Exhale, lift your knees up and begin to straighten your legs. Hips are reaching towards the sky and heels are pulling down towards the earth. Now go ahead, take a moment to get adjusted if you'd like. If you want to take your hands out a little bit wider than your shoulders, that's okay. And we're going to build this down dog from the ground up. So all 10 toes are facing forward. Our feet are about hip width distance here. You can't see your heels any longer because they're hiding behind your ankles. It's okay if your heels are not touching the floor, as long as they're just trying to reach there. Now notice I have a slight bend in my knees, so we're not trying to straighten our legs completely. That'll allow some tension to release in our low back. So the point of our downward facing dog is not to get our legs completely straight, but to find length in our spine here. So allowing our spine to lengthen in the top of our head, to expand and reach towards the floor. Our hands here again, fingertips are spread wide, pressing firmly through our palms, knuckles and fingers. Our shoulders are activated and we're not slouching down forward. So we want to evenly distribute our weight up to our hips and down our legs. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, bend your knees, come back down, tabletop. You can give your hands a rest here if you'd like. Roll out your wrists. Now that's our traditional downward facing dog. If you felt like that was very, very uncomfortable, tabletop is always an option. So again, just skipping the downward facing dog and staying in your tabletop. You can have an extended puppy's pose, so your hands are one palm's length away from where they were in tabletop, again like our downward facing dog, and then just press your hips back towards your heels, keeping them lifted, so you're kind of in this child's pose almost, so you're extending and lengthening your spine, but your knees are on the ground. This is always a great option. And then if you felt like the ground was too far away, you can take blocks right underneath your hands. So making sure they're set up where you'd like to have your hands. And then again, same concept, fingertips are spread wide. We're pressing firmly through our fingertips, knuckles, and palms. We'll tuck our toes, take an inhale breath here. And then exhale, pick your knees up and come into your downward facing dog. So this will lift your chest if you're having a harder time breathing in downward facing dog, if you feel like the floor is too far away. So this is always a great option to keep those blocks at the top of your mat. Now I'm going to come back to the traditional downward facing dog, but you can take your pick of what you like. And again, always come down into child's pose when you don't feel comfortable or you need to take a break. All right, so we're all coming into our downward facing dog of our choice. If you are in a traditional downward facing dog or on your blocks, you can begin to pedal out your feet. So we call this walking the dog. So you'll bend one knee and then the other, bringing one heel to the ground at a time. Coming back to your breath. You don't want to hold your breath here. You can even rock your hips from side to side. So you swivel your heels to the left, then you swivel them to the right. I know downward facing dog is a really tough pose sometimes, especially when you're just starting out. It used to be my least favorite pose, but now it is my resting pose and one of my favorites. So from our downward facing dog, we'll find some stillness here. We'll inhale, come high up onto our tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees and then gently walk to the top of your mat. If you are in a tabletop position, you'll just lift your feet and gently walk to the top of your mat. Hands can lift up off the mat here. So we're kind of in this dangling forward fold. When you're ready, we're going to inhale, lift all the way up to standing. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands come down by our side. So we're in our Tadasana now. So Tadasana or mountain pose. So our feet are hip width distance. And if you're not quite sure what hip width distance is, it's 2 fists. So you can take those 2 fists and stick them right in between your feet here. We're going to pick up all 10 toes. And then exhale, ground them down. So they're trying to grab your mat or your towel or the floor here. Kneecaps are lifted, thighs engaged, belly is pulling in tight. Let's take our palms face forward. Inhale, shoulders to your ears. Exhale, roll them back and down your back. Now from here, you can gaze down at the floor, close your eyes. So I think we practiced this yesterday, but we're gonna find our center. But this time, not just our shoulders over our hips, but our hips over our ankles. So if you'd like, you can keep your eyes open if you feel like you don't have your balance here, keeping a focal point on the floor as you rock from forward to back and side to side, finding that center point. So again, sometimes when we're standing, we like to lean forward. Sometimes we like to lean back. Sometimes we like to lean to the side. So let's find that one strong line of energy here, stacking our hips over our ankles. And when you've found it, we'll pause, still breathing. And then inhale, lift up out of those hips, reaching the top of your head towards the ceiling. Your chin is still on the horizon here, so we're not cranking our head back. Breathe and root down into the earth with your feet. Pausing just to observe your surroundings. Maybe returning to your intention here. If your eyes are closed, gently flutter them open. We're going to inhale, arms reach up overhead, and then we're going to cross our elbows here. Or we're going to cross our arms, so we're grabbing our elbows. If this isn't comfortable, you can grab an opposite wrist here even if you'd like. So we're going to go to the right first. So right hand grabs our left wrist, but you can also take opposite shoulders. We're going to inhale, lift up out of our spine. Maybe our shoulders are coming to our ears. Relax them down. Again, inhale, lift up, reset. And then exhale, send your hips over to the left side of the room as you reach over to the right with your right elbow. So we're not trying to crunch down here. We want our core tight and just breathing. It's okay if you don't go very far in this side bend. You can feel it without a lot of movement. Gaze can come down towards the floor, up towards the ceiling, and then imagine sending your breath into your right side body. Or sorry, your left side body. Breathing here again, sending those hips over to the left, but still lengthening towards the ceiling with your arms and the crown of your head. Inhale, come back through center, find that midpoint. Exhale, sinks you down into the earth. Inhale, lift, root to rise. And then exhale, send your hips over to the right side of the room as your left elbow is pointing towards the ground almost. Again, core is tight and we're not sagging over to our left side, but we're lifting and extending. Gaze can come to the floor or the ceiling. And then imagine sending your breath down your right side body. Inhale will bring you back through center. Exhale, let's bring those arms on the horizon here. Pull your shoulders back into the socket. So sometimes we're reaching forward. Let's pull our shoulders back. Chest is lifting. Take an inhale through center. Exhale, gently twist to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale, gently twist to the left. Again, inhales very slowly bring you through center. Exhales take you to the left or right. One last round here. Inhale through center, gently drop your hands by your side. So we'll come to the top of our mat here and we'll take our feet out as wide as our mat. We're going to come into a forward fold. This is where those blocks again can come in handy. You can take a stack of them to the front of your mat. You can take one, whatever will be best for you. Just keep them handy. And we're going to inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, keep a bend in your knees and begin to hinge from your hips. Hands can come to those hips to help you glide forward with your chest. And then we'll gently release our hands to maybe the block or the floor. So from here, coming into our forward fold, again, same thing in our downward facing dog. The point is not to get our legs super stick straight here because look at this curve in my spine. We want to bend our knees and allow our spine to lengthen and the top of our head reach towards the floor. So hands can come to the floor, block, or pillow even. And we'll take a few breaths here just to observe and note how the pose feels in our body. If you feel like this is too intense, you can always grab another block, come up here, keep that chest lifted if it's difficult to breathe. Or maybe even grab a chair here. Whatever's going to make you feel comfortable. Now I want you to come back to that center point area. Again, so this time, so we're not, our feet are out as wide as our mat, but that's okay. So we're just gonna play with shifting our weight. So we'll take our weight to our heels, and then we'll gently, very slow movement, take the weight to the balls of our feet. And I can already feel my spine lengthening here. So in our forward fold, we want to take that weight to the balls of our feet to allow our spine to extend. extend. Imagine that your heels are the gas and your toes are the brake. They won't let you topple over here. And you also have your hands on the ground. So many of you might be staring straight down at your mat, and that's not allowing your neck to relax here. So let's take our gaze back behind us, in between our legs, and gaze directly to the wall behind us. Allowing any tension to release in our neck. Option here to find some movement. You can grab opposite elbows here just as we did when we were standing, and then gently rock from side to side, finding your ragdoll pose. You can bend one knee, maybe straighten the other. If you are lifted in this position, you can gently take a deep bend in your left knee, maybe straighten your right, and then hinge back over. Deep bend in your right knee, maybe straighten your left. All right, we'll all come back through center. And then we're gonna find that downward facing dog again. So let's heel toe our feet back into our center point, right underneath our hips. Again, that's 2 fists. Now I'm gonna take this with the downward facing dog with the blocks. So we'll take an inhale here, and then exhale. We'll step our right foot back and then our left, finding our downward facing dog. If you'd like, you can come down to a tabletop first to get reset up. Up to you. So if you want to adjust your hands and then press yourself up into your downward facing dog. And then again, just noting where your toes are. So all 10 toes are facing forward. You can't see your heels any longer. Heels are reaching towards the floor, but they don't have to be glued to the mat. Keeping a slight bend in your knees, hips are sending high towards the sky, and your shoulders are pulling down your back. You don't want to be sinking in your shoulders here, so really pull those elbows in and up to shoot those shoulders down your back. And then our hands can be wherever they feel best on the mat, as long as you're pressing through your fingertips, knuckles, and palms, not just dumping all that weight into your wrists. Begin to walk your dog out very gently. You can shake your head yes, you can shake your head no. And then again, if you are stationary, a lot of us will be looking directly down at our mat. So let's take that gaze right in between our feet, allowing our neck to relax. We'll find some stillness here. I know it's a difficult pose. Take one breath together. So exhale wherever you're at in your breath cycle. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, H-A-Ha. Beautiful. Take another inhale here. Exhale, gently drop one knee to the ground and then the other. Coming to our tabletop position. Hands right underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. You can take a cat-cow or any other little movement here. And then we'll gently conclude our practice in a child's pose. Feel free to come into a shavasana if you'd like. I'm going to take a child's pose. We'll take an inhale, shift our weight forward, and then exhale, press our hips back. Taking a moment to return to our intention or our thanks. If you're in a child's pose, you can flip your palms up and allow your fingers to curl in, or just take your hands down along the side. Feel free to stay in your child's pose or shavasana for as long as you need today. I thank you all for coming to flow with me for day 3, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow for day 4. Thank you so much, and namaste.